Module 12.6, multiplying polynomial by polynomial. Now, before I'm going to show you these problems, I actually want to show you on your lecture handout another set of problems where we have to multiply. So I'm going to separate this video. I will do this video next. So let's do this one. This is multiplying these type of problem will actually make a lot more sense when we come back to do these. Okay, so let me just do this one first. So I'm going to call this video 12.6 FOIL method. How about that? All right. So this is multiplying the binomials using something called the FOIL methods. All right. So exactly what a FOIL method is, it's basically like a distribution using multiple terms. Okay. So the FOIL, F stands for first, O means outer, I means inner, L means less. So maybe if you took algebra class before in high school, you might have heard of this before. So what I'm going to do right now to explain FOIL method, I'm going to copy this very first problem 2 different times. Okay. I'm going to explain this problem on the left, and the right side I'm actually going to do a FOIL methods. All right. So let's take a look. All right, exactly what a FOIL method is, it's basically like a distribution. So if imagine from the previous video, imagine the plus 7 is not there. Okay, and I did mention if there's only one term, I don't really need a parenthesis. So if you see x times x plus 2 based on the previous lecture video where we take one term times multiple term, you basically take the x you take the x and begin to do a distribution. So let me write it down. So basically this is x times x plus 2. All right. So let's try this. Let's pretend the x is not there. Just a positive 7. Just a positive 7 right here. So when you see this, okay, one term times these two terms, you think about FOIL method again. So basically, you're going to take positive 7 and multiply the same x plus 2. Okay, so this is basically taking, so FOIL method is basically taking the first term in the first parenthesis, multiply all the terms in the second parenthesis, then take the second term in the first parenthesis, multiply all the terms in the second parenthesis. So it actually looks like this, which is basically a distribution. So the very first thing that we do is take x times x. So FOIL method, if I take x, do the same thing here just by looking at it, is taking this x times this x. Okay, that's called first for the FOIL method. So x times x, remember now multiplication, we have to add the exponent. So 1x times 1x got to be 1x squared. All right, the next thing I do is x times the positive 2 when I do my distribution. So this x times the positive 2, that's basically called the outer. The two outside term multiplied together. So x times positive 2 is going to be positive 2x. All right, so that's it for the x doing distribution. So now, positive 7, the second term in the first parenthesis will begin to do the distribution. So positive 7 times x. So positive 7 times x, which is positive 7x. All right, that's called the inner. This is called the inner. The two inside term multiplied together. All right, and the very last thing I do is take my positive 7 times positive 2. And that's called last. And that's your FOIL methods, okay, F-O-I-L. So the last thing you do is positive 7 times positive 2, which is positive 14. So basically, FOIL method, this abbreviation is basically taking the x, do a distribution, then take the 7, positive 7, do another distribution. So now I can combine like terms. So the degree is 2, so this is x squared, still x squared. Positive 2x plus 7x, 2x plus 7x is positive 9x. All right, my last term is still positive 14. So we multiply first. Basically, we just do a Basically, all we did was doing distribution first, and once we multiply them to the outside of parentheses, then we can combine like terms. So when we add and subtract polynomial before, I was trying to demonstrate using distributive property, okay, to add and subtract polynomial, where we bring all the term to the outside, then combine like term. The reason why I did that then is so now when it comes to multiplying polynomial, we basically still do the same thing. All right. So it turns out FOIL method is actually a shortcut. FOIL method is actually designed for us to do this just by simply looking at it. All right. So let me explain to y'all what that means. So my answer is x squared plus 9x plus 14. This middle term, okay, this answer is actually a trinomial. See the exponent, the true trinomial I mentioned before? All right, this answer is a true trinomial because the exponent is 2, 1, 0 power. And the middle term of a true trinomial actually come from the 2x and the 7x combined. The 9x, it comes from the 2x and 7x combined. And the 2x, the way how I got the 2x is by taking the x times positive 2, which is called the outer. The 7x is actually called the inner. When my positive 7 times the x here, that's actually called the inner. So basically the middle term, this is very important, basically the middle term of the trinomial answer come from the inner and the outer combined. So if we know that, then what we can do with the same problem, okay, let me do it the third time. And this time I'm going to point at it. If we know that's the case, where the inner and outer combined is going to give me my middle term, then what we can do is by saying, when you got 2 terms times 2 terms, okay, FOIL method, the first thing you do is still x times x, which is x squared. And the last thing you do is 7 times positive 2, which is positive 14. So your middle term here got to be the inner and the outer combined. So that means your outer, I'm going to highlight this, okay? Your outer is positive 2x. Your inner is positive 7x. So if you can do this by looking at it, 2x plus 7x will give me positive 9x. Then that will work. So this is what the FOIL method is designed. It's designed not for us to write all 4 terms out, then combine. It's designed for us to look at this, do the first term time, do the first, do the last second, and then for the middle term, do the inner and outer combined, and to say that's a 9x. Okay, so let's give that a try. How about that? Just do this just by looking at it. All right, 2 term times 2 term FOIL methods. The first thing I do is take x times x, which will give me x squared. The last thing I do is actually positive 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12. So the middle term of my answer got to come from the inner and the outer combined. So at the moment, my outer is negative 6x. My inner is positive 2x. So negative 6x plus 2x. Term with different sign, negative 6 plus 2, x, right? They got x, I just don't write them. Term with different sign, we subtract. So that gives me what? Negative 4x. There you go. So it's really designed, FOIL method is really designed for us to do this in our head. X squared, positive 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. You just write down the answer. All right, negative 6 plus 2. Negative 6 plus 2, term with different sign, we subtract. That's how we get negative 4x. All right. So it come in handy. It actually come in handy in module 13 and 14. The technique does come in handy because it prevents us from writing a lot of stuff down. So because it turns out the more we write, as you see from module 11, the more things we write, it tend to be, more confused we are. Okay, the more I write, the more often I also make mistake as well. Now, if you want to just write everything out, that will perfectly be fine as well. If you say x times x is x squared, and then x times -6 is -6x. All right, inner positive 2, begin to do distribution. Positive 2 times x is positive 2x. And then positive 2 times -6, which will give me -12. If you want to do it this way, that will be fine. So from time to time, I will show you how to do this just by looking at it. Okay, but if you must write them all out, please do so. So the two like term I can combine is the -6x plus the 2x. So my answer, x squared minus 4x minus 12. All right. So let's try this one here, the last one here on the right. So first thing I do is 3x times 5x. Okay, 3x times 5x, 15x squared, right? 3x times 5x, 3 times 5 is 15, x times x is x squared. The last thing I do is positive 3 times -1, which is -3. So my middle term of my trinomial answer got to come from the inner and the outer combined. So I'm going to highlight them for you, okay? My outer is -3x. I'm just going to say -3. My outer is -3. My inner is positive 15. So it comes in handy if you can do that in the calculator. You can just type in -3 plus 15. So -3 plus 15 is going to be positive 12x, right? -3, 15, positive, combined is positive 12. And that's my answer. All right. Now, if you want to write everything down, that will be fine as well. You can write down 3x times 5x is 15x. Then you can write down -3x after that. Right? 3x times -1 is -3x. My inner is 15x. The last thing I do, positive 3 times -1 is -3. So when it comes to combined like terms, we get 15x squared. -3x plus 15x is positive 12x and -3. All right. So that will conclude this quick lecture video. I'm going to call this particular video FOIL method for 12.6. Okay, where basically your FOIL method is just another form of distribution, which that same technique, how we actually do the FOIL method, will be used when it comes to multiplying polynomial. So instead of having two terms in the second parenthesis or in the other parenthesis, now I got more than two terms. So the technique doesn't change. I'm still doing distribution, basically. All right, that will conclude this video. Thank you for watching.